Hi, I'm Dr. Sandra Musial of Plant Docs in Providence, Rhode Island, and this is day one of my Cabin in the Woods in Vermont month. And today I'm going to be making an amazing vegan meal. I was going to just do beet greens to start off, and then I'm like, I'm going to do the whole meal. So I'm going to do a buckwheat with mushrooms, and that's going to be my grain, and tofu for some added protein. And then I'm going to have beet greens. So I'm Ukrainian, and Ukrainian Christmas Eve is coming up on January 6th. And I wouldn't be a good Ukrainian if I didn't cook something with beets while I'm up here. I have my beets, and one of the biggest travesties, nutritional travesties, is when people buy beets but throw away the greens. These greens are so super healthy, like kale or Swiss chard. They're they look just like Swiss chard, right? The seeds actually, I can't tell apart beet seeds and Swiss chard seeds. But these stems are full of nutrition and fiber, and the greens are full of vitamins and antioxidants. So today we're gonna make a dish just with the beet stems and greens. So I brought 1.5 cups of water to a boil, and I'm gonna add 1 cup of toasted buckwheat, which is also called Kasha. I'm gonna give it a stir and cook it until done. I'm gonna slice up some mushrooms to add to my buckwheat dish. And mushrooms are a completely underrated nutritional powerhouse. There's been a lot of research done with a variety of mushrooms, but even these common everyday button mushrooms are loaded with powerful antioxidants and anti-inflammatories. A lot of research is being done in the cancer world, and they're finding that different kinds of mushrooms have very powerful anti-cancer effects. So wherever you can add mushrooms to your diet, go for it. The cast iron pan that's been seasoned, but there's no additional oil. The mushrooms are coming along. I'm going to add a pinch of salt, cloves of garlic. And then I'm going to set this aside and add it to the buckwheat when it's done. The buckwheat is done. It only took, feels like less than 15 minutes, honestly. I wasn't timing it. But it's still got a little texture to it. It's a very nutty tasting grain. And I'm going to add these sauteed mushrooms and garlic to it. It's going to be so delicious. So the first thing I'm going to do with the beets, since today I'm only using the beet greens, I'm going to cut the stems, leaving like 1 inch. Most of the dirt, if there's going to be dirt on it, kind of collects at the base of these stems and can get trapped. And so I'm just going to take these and stick them back in the fridge. Okay, so after washing the greens, I'm going to separate the stems from the leafy part, just like you would with kale or Swiss chard, because I want the stems, they're tougher, so they're going to get a head start in the pan. I'm going to take my stems and chop them, like 1/4, maybe 1/2 inch pieces. These are going to cook up to be nice and tender. I'm going to throw the beet stems in and let them cook. And while they're cooking, I'm going to chop up my beet greens. To chop up any greens, I like to kind of roll them in one little sack. Do like 1/2 inch slices through the roll. And then sometimes I'll give it 1 or 2 chops lengthwise. And that will be perfect to add to the stems, which are coming along. I'm going to cook these for about 2 minutes, maybe 3 or 4, until they're a little bit tender, because the greens do not take long at all. So this is probably like 4 minutes into it. That's really good. I'm going to add a clove of garlic. And just cook that for like a few seconds. just going to drizzle a little bit of balsamic vinegar on my beet greens to increase the absorption of iron and calcium found within the greens, and to increase the nitric oxide that the body is going to create when you chew up these delicious greens, and it will help dilate or expand your arteries, not just in your heart, but everywhere. So I'm staying in this cabin. I really haven't gone shopping yet, and I found this Blue Dragon Thai sweet chili sauce in the fridge. This is going to be totally experimental. I'm just going to put my tofu in this bowl, toss it with the sweet chili sauce, and saute it in a pan. And then I'm going to have it with my buckwheat and beet greens. What wouldn't taste amazing with a sweet chili sauce on it? Just going to let the tofu brown on each side. So tofu, soy product, it's a great source of protein, and soy is a anti-cancer food, has been shown in multiple studies to help prevent different kinds of cancer. So this is a super nutritious meal with the soy, high protein tofu, these nutrient-rich beet greens, and then the super whole grain buckwheat with mushrooms. And I'm going to plate it, and being the true Ukrainian that I am, serve it with a little sauerkraut. So I let them cook a couple of minutes on this side, and I'm going to flip them. They look nicely browned.